Welcome back to our series, Living with PTSD. I'm Dr. Judy Wesolowski, and I'm here with my good friend, Gail Golden. All right, Gail, here we go.
All right.
We're going to talk about therapists today.
Yeah, let's talk about them.
You got it.
Okay.
Now, can a therapist or a psychiatrist be helpful to a person who's living with PTSD?
Yes, the psychiatrist just prescribes medication. A therapist can be very helpful. The challenge is finding the right therapist. If you go online or wherever you look, you'll see a lot of therapists who say they deal with PTSD. And then when you talk to them, they'll say, absolutely, I can take care of your problem. And my experience is most of them can't. You go to them for a while and you realize you need to move on.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So talking about moving on, how do you get the right therapist for PTSD?
Yeah, you've really got to be persistent. I mean, you might be very lucky and get the right person right away. You'll know you got the right person if you're making progress. It took me 8 years of going to all different people before I found somebody who could really help me.
Is there like an interview process or questions you could recommend that you could ask a therapist to see right at the beginning if they would be helpful, or you just kind of have to see what happens?
The two therapists who really helped me after all this searching were people who were recommended to me by other people. The one was someone I had known for a long time, and then he had become a therapist. The other was recommended to me by somebody else who I knew. If you can possibly find somebody who has actually helped somebody else, that's great, instead of just finding somebody, by going online and looking.
Word of mouth.
I think word of mouth is better. Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Now, can you tell us about your experiences with the different therapists and doctors?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Okay. The PTSD triggers, the sleeplessness and all of that, started for me after I participate yearly in a great big parade. And one of the years I was doing it, my boyfriend died the day before the parade, unexpectedly. And the next year, my mom passed away a couple days before the parade. And then a year after that, I was still doing this parade, and I started to experience PTSD symptoms. Okay. So for the longest time, the different people I was going to thought I was experiencing a complicated grief thing.
Oh,
certainly. They didn't attribute this to PTSD at all. So I went to all different grief counselors, and it just wasn't helping at all. I went to grief therapy groups. One of them, I met lovely people, and they were going through some of the same things as me because they were in mourning, and so was I. But not totally. It was different. So until you get the correct diagnosis, it's not going to help too much who you go to for stuff. Oh, yeah, okay. So a doctor put me on Xanax at the beginning of this whole thing. And then since I needed more and more of it in order for it to work, I knew it was bad. So I stopped taking the Xanax, and I told the doctor that, but he didn't tell me you need to taper off. You need to taper off. Yes. And so I just stopped it, and I went,
wow.
Yeah. So I checked myself into a clinic, a very expensive clinic, and the clinic people said I needed to go to this holistic health facility and get all these tests, like thousands of dollars worth of tests. And so I went, and they said the problem was hormonal, and I needed to buy these expensive hormones that they sold. And I'm like, my boyfriend died and my mother died, and then suddenly my hormones went haywire. I mean, I spent a lot of money, but I didn't buy the hormones. So that's one. Let's see, I made some notes about things. Oh, yeah. I went to a cognitive behavioral psychotherapist for a while, and he terminated therapy. He diagnosed it as an existential life crisis and said he couldn't help me. I mean, I had, it took quite a while to get the right diagnosis.
Wow. Wow. Now you said you were in grief counseling, like through hospice or something.
I
like
was
that?
in grief counseling for 2 other places before hospice. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, they were really nice. And it was good grief counseling, but that wasn't really my problem.
Okay. Now, did anyone get the diagnosis right?
Well, it took a long time. Let's see. I went to a lady who did say it was anxiety.
Okay.
So that was partway there. But she freaked me out. The anxiety doctor seemed very anxious. Her office was all pink. It was pink silk Victorian, pseudo-Victorian furniture with little pink lacy
Really?
pillows on it and teddy bears everywhere. So after a couple times I thought, I think she's got more anxiety than I do, and I'll move on to somebody
I
else.
would too.
Yeah, yeah.
I would too.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
if I walked
yeah.
into that office.
She was a Lulu.
Who were the other Lulus?
I made a little list here.
I
Okay.
made a list.
I've gone to 3 different hypnotists, one for several years.
Okay.
They were nice people. They were professional. It just didn't help me with the PTSD
Okay.
at all. I had heard that acupuncture could help. I've been to 3 different acupuncturists over a course of like 10 years. Some people say it's very helpful. It didn't help me. I'm not saying they were Lulus. I'm just saying it didn't help me.
Okay.
The aromatherapy person, I would say, was really out to lunch. And so was the lady who said she could cure me by having me lie down and she'd put semi-precious stones on my body and then pray over me. That didn't help either. And neither did the psychic who put me on a table that spun.
Oh, jeez. Did you get dizzy?
I guess so. I don't know. It didn't help. Those things don't help the PTSD.
Did you try copper or precious metals or anything like that?
I probably would have if I hadn't finally gotten some help. Right.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
I give you credit, seriously, for really sticking with this and trying just about everything.
You know, to all the folks who have PTSD out there, you have to keep trying because there's something wrong. And you know that there is, and you know that's not really you. And so, you know.
So who finally helped you?
Okay, couple people. There's a process called EMDR, which has to do with rapid eye movements. And the way that I've been to EMDR with a bunch of people, some people who say they're good at EMDR aren't that good. But this one person who did it was good. It's a way to subconsciously connect, is what he said, the limbic system with the prefrontal cortex.
Oh.
So you have EMDR. It's painless, and usually when you go to someone for EMDR, it's not a long-term therapy thing. You go maybe a half a dozen times or something. The first time I went to him, I really did make a connection. I traveled a lot for business, and when the budget was high, we stayed in Marriott's, and when the budget was low, we stayed in, cheapo hotels. And I was getting really scared in cheapo hotels. And I thought maybe I didn't feel safe enough, and I was making sure I knew where the exits were, and I was locking the door and all that. But I felt really uncomfortable, and it was difficult to sleep in the cheapo hotels. And then when I had the EMDR, I realized that while a Marriott has nice furniture and would have a carpet on the floor and the walls were decorated nice, the cheap hotels were much more sparsely furnished.
Yep.
And they looked more like hospital rooms, and I felt like I was in the hospital room where my mom was before she died, and that's what it was bringing up to me subconsciously. If I hadn't had the EMDR, I wouldn't have made that connection, but that connection, when you make a connection and you're on the money, and that was like, it didn't cure the PTSD, but it did help a little bit. Now, the 2 people who did help were 2 regular therapists, as I say, one of whom I had known for many years, and the other who was recommended to me by someone I knew. And they were the ones who, the first one was the one who made the connection that it wasn't grief therapy that I needed, that I had. Yeah, and that the traumatic event that had started all this wasn't doing the parade and these folks who I was so close to passing away. That was a trigger. The PTSD had been lying dormant for years, and that was a trigger. For we can talk more about that in another episode. And the third person who helped me was the person who kind of finished that up with some really great and creative and intuitive exercises to do.
Wow. Can you describe the EDMR? Is that what you said?
It's different. Different doctors do it different ways.
Okay.
It could be you talk about or think about what it is you want to focus on. Then you let it go. And not thinking about anything, you watch something. You watch lights flashing, or you watch somebody wave a spoon in front of your face, whatever it is. Your eyes go back and forth, and you don't think about anything. And then after a while, it was developed in the 1980s, I believe, by a woman. I think she was a psychologist, but I'm not 100% sure. And she had some things on her mind she was very concerned about. And she was sitting on a park bench, and she just happened to be not thinking about anything and watching a squirrel run back and forth on a wire. And then after doing that for 5 or 10 minutes, she felt a lot better, and she had some answers to her problem. Yeah. So it just activates something in you that makes some connections.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's our episode for today. Thank you for watching. Join us next time when we talk about who is in charge.